Okay, so I can see few of you, 150 at one, okay, 160 around. I hope others will be joining soon. So let me ask you, those who are here, how many of you could not create that Spring MVC? So let me start talking to you by the time others come in. Anyone who has not succeeded in seeing that entire Spring MVC flow, just be open with me because it's a feedback for myself. How many did not or could not because of whatever reasons, some problem in web.xml, any problem, but could not see the flow? So can I take it as all of these have successfully tried it, Spring MVC? Yes or no? Everyone has done it. Very good. So of course, today we will have a proper lab session. So at that time, whoever is stuck in any of the things, earlier, do let us know. We will try to help you. Okay. So what is the plan of today? Of course, we are going to do a detailed revision. Without that, you won't get the feel. So please tell your friends to join fast because otherwise they will miss the revision. And after that, I'm going to take you deeper in Spring MVC. In the sense, I'll show you the concepts like there's something called as model attribute, model and view, model map. And then we are going to start solving the content management system. So here I have modified, no, this is the Spring MVC flow. I'll send you something. Those who turn up late, please share this with them also. So I have modified, upgraded. So that will be our case study for Spring Framework. Remaining days, we will be solving this. Initially, first half without Spring Boot and then with Spring Boot. So let me just send you this diagram. And our friends who join late, please share it with them also. Yeah, I have sent you content management system. So let me tell you what we are going to, what is the plan of the first half before we, before we enter the, this thing, what is it called? Spring Boot. So let me keep it opened in Paint. You also, once you do this, once you get it, you also, this thing, keep it in a Paint or something open. So guys, let me tell you what we are going to achieve. So here, without Spring Boot, and then with Spring Boot, entire case study. When I say entire, impossible to cover everything in theory session. So in theory lab and some things given to you as a lab work, homework. So the title is, content management system. And what we are starting with is a login form naturally. So login JSP. This is not a development flow. This is how the client will look at our web portal, web application. So client will be given a form as always. This will be validated naturally using database and everything. So that is where you will get to see Spring Hibernate integration. So this flow is same. In case we will authenticate user. So just let me know, where do you think we will write this authentication logic? The data access logic will be in the DAO layer. And will there be a Java Bean or will it be replaced by a Spring Bean, JB or SB, Spring Bean or Java Bean? Waiting for the answer. Of course, a Spring Bean. There are no longer Java Beans. Yeah, I had given you the comparison. So the business logic part of Java Bean, we will be writing in a service layer. And accordingly, will be redirecting the client to the admin page or to the customer page. Customer page means topics page. And in case of invalid login, we will forward the login, forward the client. This is all we are going to do now in the sense over time. Then in the topics page, here itself, I'm not going to complete it. So because that I want to complete with Spring Boot. I want to give you maximum practice with Spring Boot. So here in the topics page, we'll just display the topics, not with the form and all that, and just give a link directly to log out. So the flow which we will do is from login to logout. Okay, so that is the target of the first half. Let's see how much we can do. So I think people have number is sufficient for me to start the revision. So I would say open two things. Okay. Um, and what are the two things? Yesterday's lab sequence for Spring MVC and the concepts, which is nothing but a flow diagram. So I I hope you have drawn it. Has everyone drawn it? So if you have, yes, either you have drawn it or open my picture, one of them. So let's start talking about it. So here I'm going to create quickly a web application from scratch to give you the feel of all the steps. But I'm going to do it in a fast manner. So you can just sit back because you have already succeeded. And then you will be like copying from earlier project and continuing. But I don't want to do the copy business. I want to start from scratch. Okay. So let's identify first the concept and then the step. So before client sends any request, you are going to deploy the web application. So tell me, what is the entry point? I've already written the important blocks of Spring MVC. So which is the first entry point of the, no, Prashant, I'm not talking about the configuration file. I'm talking about the block, which is the common interceptor, gatekeeper, even worse answer. Guys, you are in Spring MVC, front controller. So which class acts as the front controller is equal to gatekeeper? It is OSWS dispatcher servlet. So this is nothing but the entry point of the Spring MVC. Okay. So this is called as the front. This uses the front controller design pattern. Means, what is the meaning of front controller? Any request coming from any client, as long as it doesn't end in .html, .jsp with any extension, will be intercepted by this front controller pattern. Will be intercepting all requests. All requests coming from all clients. Okay. Other than, sorry, all clients. Okay. So this is a gatekeeper, also called as centralized dispatcher. So tell me, is it going to be Spring supplied or do you have to slog writing the front controller? P for programmer, S for Spring. Answer is Spring supplied. Okay, it's not Spring container supplied. Guys, this is the Spring API. So what does it stand for? ORG, Spring Framework. Now we are entering the web module. So web.servlet. Okay, so this is your entry point. Now tell me, important things. So, okay, so what we will talk about the configuration. So start answering. Is it annotated or is it to be configured with the XML? Annotation or XML? Of course, XML. So which is the XML file? Okay, scratch that. Who is going to manage the life cycle of a dispatcher servlet? Is it a Spring container or is it a web container? People are saying Spring container, wake up. Guys, we have not yet entered Spring. We have not yet configured dispatcher servlet. Once the dispatcher servlet is in picture, then we are entering Spring. So this will be managed by the life cycle. It's a servlet. So managed by the web container. Okay. Now, so where will be the configuration? In the web.xml. And that configuration I'll copy and ask you the questions. So I'm suggesting, I'm not saying that you don't do this parallelly. Of course not. I'll never stop you from doing anything parallel. But I'm going to go with a particular speed. So because we have done all of this in a very leisurely, slow manner yesterday. So I'm starting with a Maven project. And why it is not required? Because in 2 hours time, hopefully, we are going to start with Spring Boot. And Spring Boot does all these things automatically. That is why I'm saying you don't have to do it. So suppose you're working for a company exam. I mean, I'm just giving an example.com. Today is day 16. See. When I do the steps in front of you, you will have an idea of revision. What is the packaging you want? Web application archive or Java application archive? Web application archive, because it is a web application. And give the description. Spring MVC web application. It is not yet the backend. So today, tomorrow, we will spend in Spring MVC, tomorrow at least second half. And then I will take you to full stack. So guys, okay, one of you has a responsibility. Please remind me by the end of today's lab to give you a React front end. So I'll give you the, of course, I'll not give you the node modules so that you can build. You can just say npm install, and I'll give you a ready-made backend. For that, we will, ready-made front end. For that, we'll be developing a backend tomorrow or day after, the way it goes. Okay, just give me a reminder, please. Okay, so finish it. So it is a empty project creator. First thing you have is pom.xml. This pom.xml doesn't have any dependencies. So yesterday I have already given you all those dependencies. Let me copy. As you can see, this is going to be used for Spring Hibernate integration. So all the dependencies required for Spring as well as Hibernate are all, I have already collected them together. And trust me, it's quite an effort to manage the compatible dependencies. So when I take you to Spring Boot, all of this will be done in automatic manner by Spring Boot, trying to sell you Spring Boot. Okay, so this is it. After doing this, the next step is Maven update, because you can see the red crosses and all that. The changes are not yet applied. So Maven update, force update. You can just open that lab sequence file and you can just check whether I'm doing it in a same manner or not. You tell me, what is the next step I should do? I've this thing, force updated the Maven. Maven update is done. What is the next step? You just check first the project facet. So properties here, this I have not written, but this is just to be checked. So you can see that dynamic web module version is 3.1, which is what we have been using throughout our advanced Java. But is it associated with a web server yet? Answer is no. So click on, you don't click, just check the targeted runtimes, select Apache Tomcat, apply and close. After that, your Apache Tomcat is done. But if you see, does this Maven create a web-inf web.xml? Is web-inf web.xml created or not created? Quick answer. Answer is not created. It doesn't create. So how do you create it? Right click, Java EE tools, and generate deployment descriptor stub. Okay. So here is a slight irritation. All this is going to disappear, guys. This is maybe the last time you're configuring it. So here, if you check the web application version, that version is older version. So we are editing it to 3.1. So here 3_1 and here 3.1. Okay. So now our project is ready to start. Okay. So this is the, so I can get rid of unnecessary so many welcome pages where we can keep a single welcome page. Now your participation begins. Tell me, how do I configure? How do I tell how do I tell web container that any request coming from any client has to be intercepted by dispatcher servlet? What is it I have to add? Which tags I have to add? Servlet deployment tags. Very right. So here, I'm just going to pick it up from that template folder. Yesterday, you keep that template folder open in one of the windows. I'll also keep it open in one of the windows so that, today when I take you to integration of Hibernate, you're going to require database, properties, Hibernate persistence, etc. So here, open web.xml and just copy the servlet tags. I'm doing all the steps in front of you in case anyone requires a refresher. Okay, so now start answering important questions. Who is going to read this file and when? Who and when? Yes, web container and when? At the deployment time. How do you deploy a web application? Right click, run on server. Absolutely. Now, at this point, web container creates its map. So what will be the key? Slash. What does a slash mean? Slash means it can intercept any request other than those ending in some extension. What is the corresponding servlet name? Spring. Can I replace it by ABC? It's a Boolean question, fast. Yes, anything. As long as it matches, it is fine. Okay. And then the most important thing is, this is where we are configuring Spring supplied centralized dispatcher servlet. So are you going to write any servlets hereafter? Absolutely not. When Spring is doing our job, why should you go to the servlet technology? Now, so this class, who is okay, when your web container will start the life cycle, after the first request or in an eager manner at the deployment time? Eagerly at the deployment time. Okay, so now come back to our notes, sequence managed by WebXML, and life cycle started at the deployment time. Why? Thanks to what? Load on startup. So what is the life cycle of a servlet? Everyone knows. Locate, load, instantiate. It injects, web container injects the servlet config, and then it calls the init method. So in the init method of a, what is it called? Init method of a dispatcher servlet. What is the job of the DS? DS is dispatcher servlet. Anyone wants to tell me what is the job of the dispatcher servlet? Yes, to start the Spring container. I'm so glad that you are giving me the responses. So this was your first block, entry point, the common interceptor pattern, and this is the job. So coming back to this, you keep this file. I'll ask you questions. That is how the revision goes. So tell me, here, are we working in a 100% XML approach, pure XML approach, hybrid approach, or no XML approach? Answer is hybrid. When I say hybrid, we are still using XML. So anyone wants to tell me what should be the name of the master configuration file to start the Spring container? Yes, please. Does it have a naming pattern or can it be anything? It cannot be anything. So if you have given, let me ask you, if you had given the name of the servlet as ABC, can you tell me what would have been the name of the XML file? abc-servlet.xml. So guys, it is absolutely flexible. So whatever is the servlet name, -servlet.xml. So currently, to make it sound professional, I always give it as Spring. So Spring-servlet.xml, because the name of the servlet was this. Okay. Now where it should be? What should be the location of it? Anywhere or a specific folder? By default, a specific folder. I already got the answer. Answer is very right. Web-inf. It's all case sensitive. And who is going to read this? Answer is read by your dispatcher servlet to start a Spring container. So please observe, revise, and go further. Till we were in Spring with core Java, we means tester class had to create class path XML application context, and then we were starting the Spring container. But here, do you have to, as a programmer, do you have to start a Spring container, or is it getting started automatically by dispatcher servlet? Of course, automatically. Are you seeing this? And you will enjoy it even further. When I say in Spring Boot, you don't even have to configure this. Spring Boot is all about automatic configuration. So furthermore, automation, you'll see. Okay, so this is it. So now you have to open the, not open, you have to copy the next XML file. So which is the XML file which is having the instructions to starting the Spring Boot? Answer is Spring-servlet. And where should I copy paste it? We should paste it under web-inf. So anyone who is having some problems, for them I'm repeating the whole steps, but in a quick manner. Actually, not in such a quick manner. So open this. Now tell me what this file will be used for. This will be used for bootstrapping Spring container. So start solving. This is like your bean configuration XML file read by the dispatcher servlet to launch a Spring container. So go quickly. What is the meaning of this tag? Even if you don't remember, at least take a cursor there and answer. Yes, it enables all class internal annotation. Which class internal annotation? At auto-wired, at request mapping. Today you'll see at get. No. At controller is wrong. Again, you are giving a wrong answer. Internal, the annotations which are within the class. At controller is a class level annotation. So at post construct, at pre-destroy, at auto-wired, qualifier, all those things. Okay. Next one. This is the most important one. So tell me, where are you going to keep all your Spring Beans, including controller, service, and down layer? Under any package or under this base package? Under com.app. So is there anything special about com.app? Absolutely not. So suppose you are developing content management system and you have a com.cms. So so suppose content management system.com. So it is a reverse domain name we use. So com.cms. So in your projects, you will be having your project name. So give that, and below that you keep all the beans. In short, after the Spring container starts, where it is going to search for the beans? Only under com.app and its sub packages. So be careful. Otherwise, so many people make a mistake in package structure and then their beans don't get, reflected. The life cycle doesn't start and everything falls apart. Next one. What is the meaning of this? This is to enable MVC framework annotation support. Which annotations support? At request mapping, you'll see get mapping and so many. So that is our enabled. Now the interesting one. Okay, sorry. So by the time these many, what is it called? These many lines are executed, your dispatcher servlet is already there. And now here very carefully, when this line is executed, this is to configure the annotation-driven Spring MVC controller programming. Means what? Now listen to means what very carefully. Your Spring container is already up because that has launched, that has started. Dispatcher servlet has started the Spring container. What is the name of the class? XML web application context. Class is instantiated to represent Spring container. So now your container searches under com.app. Is there any controller bean? So tell me, have we written any controller bean, request handling controller, or no? No, not written. Come on. Where were you yesterday? Of course, we have written a controller bean. So now open. I have not written. Okay. I think I mistook your answer. We have not written correctly. In this, yesterday we had written. My mistake, sorry. So SRC main Java. Let us write your welcome controller, home controller, hello controller kind of a thing. So how do you write it? Right click new. I don't see any class. So okay, no problem. So just look for a class. And here, any package name? Absolutely not. So you can say either com.app.controllers or controller. And same thing we will be using for writing your REST controller sometime day after. Or maybe second half. I don't know how it goes. com.app.controller. And I'm writing like yesterday, a simple good old hello controller. Okay? There's nothing other than the package. So check my spellings. If I make a mistake, tell me. Now, how do you tell the container, Spring container now? Because this is going to be Spring Bean with the annotation. So what should be the annotation? To tell controller, to tell the Spring container, whatever follows is a request handling controller @controller. Since it is such an important flow, I'm taking it all again. Then the moment it is it, you can just take a cursor here and later read. Indicates that this annotated class is a web controller, request handling controller. And here, how do you confirm? Okay, sorry. If I don't specify scope, what is the default scope here? S or P, singleton. What is the default loading policy of a singleton bean? Eager or lazy? Eager. Means when will Spring container start the life cycle of this bean? at the application deployment time or after the first request deployment time. All good? Deployment time, web container starts a dispatcher servlet. Dispatcher servlet starts a Spring container, and Spring container starts managing the life cycle of Spring Beans. Making sense totally? 100% clear? Okay. So now, how do you confirm what we are saying? And forget confirmation. How do you debug if the things are working or not? Just add a default constructor with some SOP. Constructor of, how do you see the name of this? You can say get class, or you can simply say get class dot get name. This is even shortcut. So how many times you expect to see this statement? Once or multiple times? Once, because it is singleton, and when? Application deployment time, because it is eagerly loaded. All clear? So answer is singleton and eager. Very right. What is the Spring Bean lifecycle? Locate, load, instantiate. Then dependency injection. So currently there are no dependencies. Wait for a while. We will have service, now whole layers coming up. So let's have just a currently confirmation of the life cycle. This is all optional. I'm just training you for the basic Spring life cycle again. And here the only rule is it should be public void. Method name can be anything, including init123 and argumentless. So immediately, okay, what happens between a constructor and an init method? Setter based dependency injection, also field level dependency injection. Currently 0. So you can simply say init, and let's tag it by who's in it, because soon we'll be having tons of controller. I mean, yeah, customer controller, admin controller, etc. So you'll have a lot of controllers. So this is done. And now, why we are here? We are not here for tracing things. We are here to add the request handling method. Okay, so take a pause here and check this. What is it we want? This is, I'm repeating the whole thing because so many of you had logged off earlier yesterday. I don't know what you got and what you missed. So coming back to the point, after client sends a request, what kind of a URL client is going to send? HTTP host port, change it to day 16, some Spring MVC /hello. So our objective is to send a welcome response, which touches upon where the request is routed through so many layers. That's our objective. So tell me, where are you going to write this, request handling logic? I'll repeat my question. Where are you going to write this request handling logic? You have so many answers. Handler, correct. I was going to give you option. Front controller, handler mapping, request handler, view resolver bean, or the JSP. Of course, the correct answer is request handler. So that is we are configuring. So how do you tell Spring container that whatever follows is the request handling method? This is to what you said, to send the welcome response. I mean, welcome content, welcome message. Yes, which is the annotation, guys. All is, yeah, at request. It is all annotation based. So there is a classic approach where everything we used to do a couple of years before, many years, 4 or 5 years before, full XML used to be a pain. So here now comes the incoming URL pattern, which is going to end up as a key in some handler map. And then you have a rule. I mean, all the methods have to be public because your Spring container or that dispatcher servlet is going to call it, right? And let us start with a simple outcome of a string. And I like to say this. Method name can be anything. So typically I say this. In say hello, and all I'm returning is slash. I'll tell you why. I mean, you might have already understood why slash, but still I'll tell. Okay. So now the important statement. Who is going to, what do you say, process? Who is going to manage this hello controller bean? SC or WC? Spring container. When? application deployment time exactly once. So now listen to the question. You have annotated it with the controller and you have got one method added, annotated with request mapping. So who will look at this method? Spring container. And using this method, what is it going to do is, it is going to populate the entry in handler mapping bean. I'll repeat the last statement since it is important. I said, like how web container was creating this thing, mapping for handling the request to the servlet, your Spring container, exactly same. Spring container is going to create a map. To map what? To map the incoming request to a particular request handler's particular method. Why we have to supply the method also? Guys, in servlet, there were predefined methods. Do get, do post, do put, do delete. It was all coming from the servlet API. Here, this class doesn't come from anywhere. It's a standalone class. So you have to write. So now the big question is, listen, connect all the pieces together. When you enable this, what is the meaning? Spring container is automatically going to read those request mapping annotations and populate the handler mapping bean. So one of the important question is, look at this, think like a container. And when container looks at this, can you tell me what will be the entry? Means what will be the key and what will be the value? You can write in short forms. What will be that one entry added in the handler mapping bean? Key is absolutely correct. Give me the value. Value will be controller classes, that is handler classes, fully qualified class name plus the method name, which is what, guys? Oh yeah, com app controller dot hello controller, and which method? Say hello. So this precious information is going to be added automatically by the container into handler mapping bean because of one line, because of this instruction MVC colon annotation driven. Got it so far? So far, till now, what all at the application booting time, deployment time, your handler mapping is populated. Currently one entry. Soon we will have 10 entries. Your hello controller is up and running, singleton and eager. Your dispatcher servlet is the one which kickstarted all of things. Now come to the another simple but effective, useful bean. What is that? View resolver. So here, take a look at it. Who is supplying the view resolver bean? Class, I mean, Spring supplied or this thing supplied, programmer written? Come on, Rohit. How can you say programmer? Can you not see this OSWS view layer? It is a Spring supplied bean class, but who has to configure it? Understand my English. Interviewers are going to talk to you and ask you in English. So be clear about the question. That will be done by the, what is it called? Programmer, just till you reach the Spring Boot. In Spring Boot, all XML content 0. So it is Spring supplied class to be configured by the programmer. So what is the bean ID? Can be anything. But because it is going to do the resolving of the view, I just give the typically ideas view resolver. Which module we are learning? Web module, servlet based, and we are entering the view layer. So view resolver is the interface implemented by this. And which are the 3 properties you are injecting? So listen to this. When I say these are all the property tags, what is it being used here? Setter based DI or the constructor based DI. The moment I say property tag in the middle of night, I want everyone to understand setter based DI. Of course, there is a C for constructor, C colon prefix. That time it uses constructor based DI, but we are not using it. So now tell me, simple question, simple answer. What is the, okay, I'll write it here because that's a revision. Handler mapping bean, I'll say automatically populated by Spring container by looking at request handling methods. How it knows that it is a request handling method? It uses the the annotation at request mapping. This thing by looking at request handling methods added in or present in controller. Request handling controller. And how do you tell that whatever follows is the request handling controller? Using this. Okay, so that bean is there. So this has to be programmer supplied. And two compulsory annotations are, I'll say the mandatory annotations. What are the mandatory annotations? One is at controller to be replaced by at rest controller when I show you the full stack application. So this is your class level annotation, right? And the other one is at request mapping. And this is what? Class level annotation or a method level annotation, C or M. It is, of course, a method level annotation. Correct? So both are mandatory. Even if you forget one of them, the whole thing will collapse and you'll start getting HTTP 404s. Now apply your common sense. When I say at request mapping annotation, this I have not said yesterday. This is something new. When I say at request mapping annotation, which of the, I'm writing it, which of the, or which all, I mean, horrible English, HTTP requests, it can, I said it is a horrible English, excuse me for that, intercept. So I'll give you the choices. So is it get? Is it post? Is it there are 5 more, but we will deal for REST APIs only 4. So I'm just talking about it. So let me this thing because it's not written badly worded. I said when you talk about request mapping method level annotation, this method can respond to which particular HTTP requests. So is it get? Is it post? Is it put? Is it delete? All of above? None of above. Apply your common sense. Answer is all of above. Okay, because it is a global annotation. But now I'm going to give you a subtype. So now let's see. You've not seen it. You'll say you are where you are shown it. I'll show you in a minute. Okay, minute means whatever. So it is so what you say, self-explanatory, common sense. This is what we will be writing in your REST controller, guys. So tell me, when I talk about get mapping as a method level annotation, what it can intercept, obviously, all the requests or only get request, naturally get request. And what was it equivalent in our servlet days? What is equivalent of get mapping in a servlet? Exactly. So guys, it is not a new concept, just related to what you know already. Are you getting it? This one, of course, it will intercept only post. This will naturally do the update kind of a thing, that is a put, and this is for deleting the resource. Making sense so far? Understanding it so far? Because this is a future thing. What you will be seeing, what we'll be using shortly. So this is your thing. So this is your programmer supplied, and here automatically populated. So here there is a map, and when you say map, think of key and a value. So what will be the key here? Key will be the value of the at request mapping or its subtype. Which subtypes I'm talking about? Get mapping, post mapping, put mapping, delete mapping. So value of the request mapping annotation becomes the key. Example currently /hello. And what will be the value of that entry? That will be nothing but fully qualified handler class name. But just having a handler class name is not sufficient. We have to tell the Spring container, or the Spring container has to know which method to call, dot or you can say plus, I mean, it is dot actually, the method name. So how do you tell that this is a request handling controller? At controller annotation. How do you tell this is a request handling method? One of these. So I have started you with request mapping. Soon I'll take you to subtypes. Everything making sense so far? Not at all confused? 100% clear? Great. Because this is good, this can be a project technology. So I cannot take risks. Even 1 out of 218 feeling lost, tell me. Okay, so that is it. Now come to the another view resolver. So this is where I had paused. So anyone wants to tell me what is the job of this view resolver? So here it is a simple job. Let me see. Anyone wants to tell me what is the basic job of a view resolver? Absolutely correct, Rohit. It is just a translation. Translation from what? From logical view name, which is also called as, you'll see all these things shortly, forward view name. Because all these MVC vendors, MVC implementers, that is Spring MVC or Struts MVC or JSF, Java Server Faces, all use the forward technique to navigate the client from controller to the view layer. So it is called as forward view name also, to logical view name to actual view name. Got it? So now, view resolver is not a magician. So which are the properties you have to inject to enable this translation? Give me the names of the properties, please. Important properties are prefix and a suffix. And additionally, you can give a name. Additional thing is view class. To enable, if you are working in JSP, you definitely like to add the, what is it called? JSTL support. So there's a class called a JSTL view. So this view class is to, I'll write it. Please go through the sequence. I write it in a very elaborate manner to enable the JSTL actions or JSTL tags actions. It's the same, right? Okay. So now forget view class. So, and tell me, I'll use the short forms. AVN is for the actual view name. So how will your view resolver translate it from logical view name to actual view name? It will just wrap it between prefix and a suffix. So how does it start? It starts with the prefix. Okay. Then it will add the logical view name and then it will add the suffix. So this is what you have to configure, guys. So tell me, what is the value of the logical view name? I'm so sorry. The prefix I have given here. I've given, so as an example, this is the prefix. And you will have after that, the logical view name. We'll come to that in a minute. And plus, what is the value of the suffix I have given? .jsp. Still crystal clear? All clear? Not feeling lost. You tell me when you don't understand something. Okay. So now continue with the flow. So wait a second. All is in the diagrams. Okay. So this is what this view resolver bean is also singleton and eager. So it is all loaded. Locate, load, instantiate, dependency injection. So prefix, suffix, and the view class is all injected here and waiting for the client. So let us bring in the client now. So here, because then I can show you the view layer and we can start with today's contents. So after client clicks on the link, that whatever test Spring MVC flow, this will be the request. Who is going to intercept all the requests coming from any client? Dispatcher servlet is equal to front controller is equal to centralized dispatcher entry point of Spring MVC. So already it is initted. So who will consult whom for what? Dispatcher servlet doesn't know any mapping. It doesn't know which controllers, which method, which handlers, which method to call. So whom it will consult? It will consult the handler mapping with the key. So key goes in. What is key? The URL pattern, the last part of the URL. So handler mapping bean will search in the map. Is there any entry with this key? exists or does not exist? The moment you have written this controller, the entry exists. So tell me, what will it return? Null or not null? What will this fellow return? Of course, a not null, and that is nothing but the value which includes fully qualified class name, com app controller, dot hello controller, and which method to call. Control again comes back to this centralized dispatcher. Got it? Now what is the next interaction? This class or this Spring Bean, controller is a Spring Bean managed by the Spring container, is already located, loaded, instantiated, waiting for the clients. So now, who will call whose method? Dispatcher servlet, see this arrow, invokes the our handler method. So here the control comes in. So answer a quick question. How many times you're going to see in say hello? Once or one per request? Guys, your answer is wrong. Don't give loose answers like this. Once per every request. This is your request handling method, equivalent to do star in your servlet. Okay, or your JSP service, for example. Okay, so coming back to the picture here, the control comes here, and who is returning what to whom? Your handler method is returning a simple string. So when it is a simple string, what is it considered as? A forward view name, or you can say a logical view name. It comes back to front controller. Understood the second interaction? First interaction was this. This was the second interaction. Now, this logical view name is sent from dispatcher servlet. See guys, the separation of concern, separation of responsibilities, which is the heart of MVC. One component is not overburdened with too many tasks. So everyone works properly. Coming back. So this goes in. What is sent here? A logical view name. And what will your view resolver be sent back? Actual view name by simply wrapping /welcome, which was the logical view name, between prefix and a suffix. So what is the actual view name container gets? Web-INF views /welcome.jsp. This is your suffix, this is your prefix. Now, did you understand why I added a slash here? Don't add a slash here and you will start getting page not found. Because in Spring Servlet, I have not added a slash here. There is a reason there. Okay, so everything works out fine. Control again comes back to your hub. This is your like a central hub where everything comes back. So this finishes the third interaction. Here I have not given the number. You can add a number here. The last interaction here. So last interaction is between this thing. What is it called? The dispatcher servlet and the view layer. So tell me, which is the default navigation your dispatcher servlet will use? Server pull or client pull? SP or CP? SP. And a forward scenario of a request dispatcher or include? It doesn't want to include the dynamic contents. It wants to forward the client to the view layer. So what is the code? There is going to be, I hope you have kept some space, or we can always shift it down. So your dispatcher servlet will call whatever you are calling earlier. Request.get request dispatcher. And what is the input? Complete view name, actual view name, and then forward. So is controller, front controller, dispatcher servlet, is it forwarding the client in the same request or in a next request? Same or next? Of course, same request. So this is where the Spring MVC tells you hide the JSP content. Means what? You tell me. When you have kept your JSP under Web-INF views, can your client access it directly? Any client? Of course not. It's a private folder. So the whole idea is to do the routing. This is nothing but a routing like we do in React, routing to the different components. Here you are doing the routing to different layers. I can say components again. It's not a React component, obviously. It's a Java component. So the point is the whole routing should be done by this centralized dispatcher. Correct? So this is where you finally come, and all we had written, all we could finish yesterday was a welcome message. So this is the only thing pending. Let me do that and continue with today's topics. So where are we? You should create a web page now. The welcome page doesn't get created. So here, web-inf, new. Do I have a JSP here? No. Anything doesn't here. Just say other and just type the filter text JSP. What should be the folder? Okay, sorry. I should ask you. Is it a special name such as views, or can I replace it by pages, results, or JSPs? Any name. I have just given the prefix. I'm so yeah, prefix as views. So I'm maintaining that. You can always replace it by anything. I am saying, guys, don't play in such thing. You got a lot to learn. So stick to defaults and focus on other important things, such as that huge content management system we have to finish. So anyway, so what was it? Check if I make spelling mistakes. Welcome. And all we are saying is welcome to this thing, Spring MVC. So after spending this time, are we completely clear about MVC pattern implemented by Spring Framework in form of Spring MVC implementation? Because in the next module, which is ASP.NET, you're going to hear the whole MVC pattern all again. Only thing is that will be developed using the .NET components. So that time you should be able to relate that this is what we had done in Java, this is what we are doing in .NET. I can't give you the analogies. I mean, I know just superficially .NET, so I'm not a correct person to talk in that. But the point is, you will be able to relate to it, like the MVC here and MVC in .NET later. Even the entity framework, which is very similar to your ORM framework in Java. In short, you will be able to relate definitely. So I think we are all set. Let's try to run this and reach the same level as yesterday. Run as. If I've forgotten something, I'll get errors and we'll debug it together. Remove all. I'm keeping day 16. And you should be watching the console. Have I forgotten something, guys? Somebody's saying something on a message. Just give me a second. I'm checking here. So, yeah, it looks like I've forgotten. What is it I've forgotten, guys, in talking to you? Yes, index page. Good catch. So here, but it doesn't scare me. Why it doesn't scare me? What would have scared me or, worried me? If this doesn't appear, that means there is a problem in web.xml. I'm giving you the troubleshooting tips. Listen on. If this doesn't happen, then I know that my hello controller I have forgotten add controller or some annotation. So this is all cool. Adding the index.jsp is so easy. I'm not justifying my mistake, but the point is it's a easy one. So where should I create? Here the question. Where should I create the index page? Under web app or under views? Under web app. But guys, our philosophy, not our, Spring MVC philosophy says hide all the JSPs. Not even an index page should be accessible. So that also I'll show you as a next objective. Currently, I will keep it in a public folder. Which is a public folder? Context, root of the web application, which is web app. So I'm just trying to reach where we were yesterday. After that, I'll ask you a question. So let's see this. Oh, I have a JSP here. I never saw. Anyway, index page. And all I'm going to say is a link. Anchor tag. Sorry. What it should be? /hello or only hello. You know all this, guys. We have spent so many days on this in servlet. Just hello. Try /hello and see HTTP 404. Okay. So we are done, I guess. And here, let me. Oh, this was day 15. Okay. I did not change. See, guys, there are so many risks in a hurry. Hurry kills you. I forgot to make the changes in form.xml. So why don't we, fix it? So day 16 Spring MVC, form.xml. Oh, I had changed it. Then why it does not? Oh, I did not change it everywhere. Okay. Yeah, fine. No problem. You understand what I said? the project. I'm still, why it got into T? Oh yeah, I have copied the pom.xml. I was wondering why the changes. Anyway, so don't worry. We'll fix it in a minute. I copied that pom.xml, which had everywhere day 15. That is the thing. So now it is going to, I think, get. Anyway, I'm not taking any chances like this. I'm just going to force update it. Validating. Best is to stop the server in such cases. So this is all fine. Run as server, finish. Watch the console. Console tells you all the stories. I mean, whether it is going to work at all. So I was looking for that hello control and all. This page is not important. What is important is this console saying detecting the Spring Servlet and starting the life cycle of your Spring Bean, which is controller bean. And if you have configured everything, this is what is the complete routing done by the, request has reached so many blocks. Dispatcher servlet, handler mapping, your handler, hello controller, view resolver, and finally the JSP based view layer. Are we all good? Are we all clear? Completely. I've spent more than 1 hour in that. So I hope people are clear. Okay. So now a challenge. Challenge means a next task. I'll tell you, because that is how it makes it interesting. So when I'm developing, of course, stop the server. Now, guys, okay, shall I send you this? Or you have your yesterday's copy? Shall I send you the zip of this project? Or are you working with your yesterday's copy? Tell me. Either way is okay for me. Yesterday's copy, fine, no problem. Great. So only thing is the name of the project will change. Mine is day 16, yours is whatever. So now stop the server. Go to server tab and stop the server here. And I'm giving you a small challenge. So let's see whether you can manage. So the question is, listen to the question, listen to the statement, okay? Because that will tell me how much it has reached you. Here, as per the Spring MVC policy, where should be this index page? Or okay, I'll rephrase the question. Who should deliver the index page? Spring container or web container? Index page I added. There was no index page, Rajiv. Web container should deliver it. Guys, you are still in a web container. We have risen to, we have come to your Spring. So I want all the JSPs, any view layer, only routed through the dispatcher servlet. So I'll say it again. I want even the index page delivered via, routed via front controller. Understood me? Understood or not? Understood this? Okay. Because that is the norm. That is what your Spring API documentation says. So first things first, open web.xml. Who is going to read this web.xml? Web container. Remove the entry. Okay. I don't want the anyone even looking at my index page. Let me deliver. Let me as in dispatcher servlet deliver it. Let the Spring MVC handle it. So remove the index.jsp. Okay. Now the next question. Where are we going to keep where are you going to hide all these pages? Under web app or under views? Under web app views. So simply drag and drop it. So drag this page and put it under views. So see the folder structure. Web app, web INF, views, and under that you have welcome.jsp and now you have index.jsp also. All good so far? Manage the dragging, just it's a drag and drop, nothing. Now, when you run this, don't waste your time. Right? Just answer me verbally. When you say right click run as run on server, are you going to see this index page delivered or are you going to get HTTP 404? 404. Everyone, now the challenge is fix it. When I say fix it, are you allowed to change this index.jsp's position? No, it has to be under the views. Yes, please. Tell me. Tell me your solution. Did you understand my question? Currently, HTTP 404, because it is under hidden package, I'm sorry, hidden folder, make it delivered via front controller. Yes, please. Anyone wants to suggest? That is how will show me your understanding. But if you're lost in the question, ask me to repeat. I can repeat it. Yes, exactly. So add a controller, index controller, absolutely. Or you can say home controller, home page controller, anything, and add the entry. Very good going, guys. I'm so happy to see the response. So here, see guys, when I have one controller, I have already got as a hello controller, which I'm going to add later. Model and view, model, a lot of things. So let us create a separate controller, home page controller, index controller, anything. And what will be the key and what will be the value? Key will be slash and value will be that method. Since you have already got it right, let's move on. I mean, let's do it. So right click on COM app controller, new. There's no class here, right? So you can add a Java class here and give the name as, you can give anything. Index controller, somebody suggested, fine. I generally call it as homepage controller because that is what will show you the homepage, landing page and all that. So homepage controller. Name does not matter as long as it's under com.app. Now, how do you tell that it is this? Add controller. And just for debugging, this can go away anytime. Just for debugging, whether you have not forgotten anything, let us add a tracer as a logger. SOP in constructor of whatever. Okay. And now the next thing is, I'll just give you comment, you give me the method. Add request handling. This is not a business logic method. Business logic is service. Later, add request handling method to forward the client to homepage to index.jsp. I'll wait. You'll give me the method. I'll wait for half a minute here. Prashant, don't comment it, remove it. You're not going to require that welcome file here at all. So remove that from welcome file list. We already did that. Web.xml, Prashant. I already removed the welcome page, welcome file content. Okay, you're giving me the method. I'm waiting for your method. Write that and paste it on chat. Abhishek, I hope you have given the annotation. You've forgotten the annotation. Okay, so that annotation is what important, but the other thing is absolutely fine. Request mapping annotation, very good, guys. Niti, good. Anshamala, good. Abhijit also, all of you, whoever it is. So please don't forget. The first thing is you write the annotation and then write the method. Public. What I don't remember. Is it string? I hope it is string. And you can say show home page or anything. Take it to home page or whatever. Doesn't matter the name. Just for debugging. See, you are in a very early phase of Spring MVC. So we are writing a lot of debugging message. All of them can go away. And most importantly, what you got right is slash. Otherwise, that web-INF use doesn't have a slash and index. So now tell me LVN to AVN. So what is the logical view name here? Slash index. Anyone wants to tell me the actual view name here? Slash web app. I'm so sorry. Web-INF slash views slash. So that slash is here. Index.jsp. Are we 100% clear? Yes. Slash welcome. Oh no, not welcome. This one. Sumit, we don't want to go to welcome page. We want to go to the index page, right? So, so you can understand the flow so easily. But before that, I have a question. Now, how many mappings, How many entries exist in that handler mapping bean? 1 or 2? Answer is 2. Which is the latest entry it has added? Oh, have I not? Oh, sorry. My mistake. Sorry. So the key is slash and the value is, what is the value? In my case, it is com app controller, homepage controller dot show homepage. Got it? And we have already shifted our index.jsp to this. So let's see whether everything works. Check the console all the time. See, I made a mess somewhere. Where did I make a mess? Let's see. Console. Here. Oh, look at this. Web.xml, parse error in web.xml. See how I'm debugging it. I'm just really looking at the error message, nothing else. So I must have made something in a hurry. So my web.xml looks to be this. Okay, what is it I missed, guys? Hurry problem. Hurry kills you. You know that. The opening tag also I deleted. So of course there was a parsing error. And are you getting it, guys? You may not have made this thing. Yeah, exactly, Ashutosh. Thanks. So that is what happens when you don't pay good attention. Eyes on the console. You can have it on your own console, and it is definitely going to deliver your index page. So check it out. Hello controller up and running, and homepage controller also up and running, all singleton and eager. And it has already, the client has sent the request with slash as a key, and you are seeing the whole flow revisited. So what was the request this time? Client said host port / day 16 Spring MVC intercepted by front controller. What was the key which was sent to the handler mapping bean? Answer that. Slash. Very good. What is the return? Homepage controllers. Which controllers? Which method? Your index controller, whatever method. So now your dispatcher servlet called my homepage controllers show index page or show homepage method. Which was the logical view name it returned? /index. That was given to the translator view resolver. And what was the avian actual view name we got? /webinf /views index.jsp. And the container, I mean dispatcher servlet, forwarded us to the index page and showing the link. And this second part we had already done. Getting the clarity more and more, feeling comfortable and kind of like used to. Very good. So this was one. Now let us follow the sequence. Anytime. So see, Rajiv, your mistake. Day 15 is not there. I made the changes to day 16. So just, keep up to the thing. Or I can send you the zip file. Here your resource is day 15 saying we are in day 16. So check it out. Some correction. If guys, in this theory session, I can't look at it. Maybe I'm saying in the break time, that around 10, we take a break, right? So at that time, 1 or 2 such queries I can take. In the meantime, if you don't want to lag behind, I can send you the fresh zip. Not just for you, anyone requires it. So that we will be on the same page. And by mistake, if you make some mistake and if you lag behind, I will still tell you guys to code along with me, or I mean to try it along with me, because if your code is also not there, then later after fixing the bug, you can't really go ahead. So let me just send you the zip. Like I said, Rajiv, don't stop telling me, because I'm not going to ask you to share screen, not in the theory session, wasting everyone's time. You will have to wait. Either fix it yourself or I'm sending you the zip, compare it. If you want my help, I'll give you that in the around 10:15, the first break time. So guys, let's move on. So this is your complete revision done. So now I have a question. Here, what is the response type we have sent so far from the JSP? Is it a static response or is it a dynamic response? What is the type of the response? Dynamic response. Guys, look at this response. Will you call it as a changing response or a non-changing response? It's a static response. So I don't want to add this thing. See, don't misunderstand me. I can make it dynamic in a minute in the view layer. I can just say here, welcome @ local date time or something or new date. That's not what I meant. What I want is, now I want to generate the dynamic response from our controller, request handling controller, and that should be made visible. That should be accessible in the JSP. Understood what I said? Okay. So here, since we are going to do something, stop the server, go to the server tab and stop the server and open, you can say Control-Shift-W, too many pages if they're open, and we are going to add a link. What is the objective? The objective is generating dynamic response through Spring MVC. But what you are actually going to learn is something called as model and view. Okay, so just copy this link. I'm giving slow instructions. So copy paste this link. And here, let's say now let's start the series. I'll say something. Okay, first I'll write the hypertext test model and view. There's a class by the name model and view, and you will understand something in next 10 minutes. Just give me next 10 minutes. And here I'm saying test slash something test1. I'll send you this link if you don't want to type. With every new thing, I want to show you more and more. I want to take you deeper in Spring MVC. That's the only thing. Okay. So added this link. You tell me when you have added, and then we'll start the discussion. Got it? Okay. So now everything starts from the client side. So start the story. Let's start the story. So when the client clicks on this link, test model and view, what is it? Forget it. That you will understand in 10 minutes. So when the client clicks on this, every time your go-to picture is here. So anyone wants to tell me, don't tell me the whole URL, tell me the URI. What will be the URI sent? /16 Spring MVC. After that you tell, okay, you tell me the URL pattern. Tell me the URL pattern. Quickly. Okay, where is your /test/test1? So answer the next question. I'm just using the pointer here. Can it be intercepted by front controller, dispatcher servlet or not? Is it ending in any .jsp, .html and all that? No. So can it be intercepted by dispatcher servlet? Yes or no? 100% yes. So what will your front controller send it to the handler mapping bean? What will be the input it will send? Tell me. If you want to edit the picture, you can edit the picture. What will it send? /test/test1. And now answer, what will your handler mapping bean return? Null or not null? Of course, null. So what is the answer? Sorry. What is the next action we have to take? I don't want null. I want some answer. Okay. So we have to add something. We have to do something in the controller. So guys, one solution is here. One solution is, I have already written so many controller. I mean, okay, so many is this, but homepage controller is there, or you have got, hello controller and all that. So here, okay, I can write it in that, in any of the controllers. And can you tell me what will be the value of the request mapping? We'll have add controller already written. What will be the value of the request mapping? Type it out. What will be that? /test/test1. But guys, soon we are going to start a test series. Meaning, I want to show you so many things before we start solving that content management system full-fledged. I want to write a common test controller where all testing methods are written. So can you identify? It's a 2-level pattern. One is test, and below that we are going to write test 1, test 2, test 3 and all that. So let us add a new test controller to make you understand things. Okay, so let me not use in a index page controller, home page controller, hello controller, because I have something new to show you. Where should I be writing all the controllers? Under ComApp controller, right click, new, other class. And here the name I'm giving it as to, because it is a testing, very basic testings we are into, test controller. Okay. Which is the compulsory annotation at the class level. Annotations you will always tell me. Everyone knows it. At controller, because we are developing a monolithic standalone, no, not standalone, Spring MVC web app. When we split it into front end and a back end, this will be your back end replaced by REST controller. I am just, keeping you prepared. So just as a debugging statement, add a SOP in a default constructor. So you'll know whether all these controllers are up and running before the client sends a request. This is completely repetitive. And here, add request handling method. Okay, so the whole idea is to generate the dynamic response. But guys, now pause. If you are typing something, stop typing. I'm saying an important concept. So which is a mandatory annotation here? Everyone knows this. But which is a optional and but recommended annotation, that request mapping annotation can also come at the class level. I'll repeat. Add request mapping annotation can be also added in an optional but recommended manner in at a class level. So anyone wants to guess what is the value I should add here? The value of that request mapping annotation /test. Very good guessing, guys. Because all this test controller means it is dedicated to all. It will be mapped to all, starting the annotation with /test and /test1, /test2, all those request handling methods. So here you are completely right, /test, and please add a comment, optional but recommended annotation. I'll give you this comments, recommended class level annotation to, for separation, to separate all testing related actions. Actions means methods to separate all testing related actions under the test controller. Guys, soon we are going to start solving our CMS, content management system, where there are two actors, two players, two use cases, customer and admin. So at that time, you'll start understanding the separation will always help you. So this is optional but recommended thing. So any action, any URL pattern starting with / will be added here. But now you just solve the partial pattern. Other partial pattern has to be done. So add the request handling method, which is the mandatory annotation, method level annotation. So tell me, don't answer the question now, answer it now. I mean right now. When a client is clicking on the link, which is the method, HTTP method, which will be used? Get, post, put, or delete. When you are clicking on the link, which method? Quickly, it is a get method. And is there a specialized annotation to only intercept get methods? Answer is yes. So now get mapping. Okay, and get mapping. See, on the class level, you cannot say any get mapping. The class level only allowed annotation is request mapping, which can intercept all the requests. Get, put, post, delete. Okay, so here you have a get mapping, and here anyone wants to tell me what will be the value here? Obvious question. Of course, yeah, slash test one. So now can you see this combo pattern, combination pattern? So any request which comes with slash test one will be intercepted by this method. I'll be asking you what will be the key and all that in a minute. And now, so this I'll just give you and then explain. What was the return type for the request handling method so far? String. So that we are going to replace it by a special class, which is the point here. The name of the class is model and view. So what is it? You will understand it in 2 minutes. You can read the pop-up. Holder for both model and view. In a minute, I'll explain. So just say model and view. You will take it from OSWS. We are into web servlet module, and let's say something test model and view. The name of the method also I'm keeping it so that even after 2 months you look at it, you still know what is happening. And add a tracer here, SOP in test model and view. And here now we will be adding something. So I have to take a pause here. You finish this much. It is giving you a problem. I mean compiler error because we have not returned anything. Don't ask me what is it. You will understand it automatically, but you need I need time. So reach here and parallelly, guys, I hope your Spring API docs are open. If not, open it. Spring Boot docs you will not require now. Okay, so open Spring API docs and search for Control F, model and view. So tell me, what is model and view? It's a class. Okay. What is it going to hold? It is going to hold both model as well as view in the Web MVC framework. So are we saying that you are mixing up model and view together? No, it is just a holder object which holds it together. And you can return a model and view object from the handler test controller to be resolved by the dispatcher servlet. So who is going to return this model and view object to whom? Our handler to the dispatcher servlet. And now I just want to show you the constructors. There are so many constructors. I'll show you the simplest one. So there is a constructor, yes. So one of the constructor is, this is what we are going to use. One, it takes as a view name. Another one, it takes as a model name and the model object. So here we are entering a very important concept of a Spring MVC with the name of model attribute. So tell me, do you remember the word attributes? When I say in the middle of night attribute, is it string comma string or is it S comma O? It is string comma object. So now you know already page scoped attributes, request scoped attributes, session scoped and context scoped, application scoped. Here you are learning model attribute. Okay, so let us use it, let us run it, and then we'll step back and understand the internals. So here I'm giving you the API of, I'll write it here. So you can revise it right here. OSWS. The name of the class is model and view. And here the constructor which I'm going to use here is already said. When I say, when you see the view name, guess smartly what it will be. Logical view name or actual view name? LVN or AVN? The first argument was view name. So tell me, of course, a logical view name. Or we can say forward view name. I have not yet shown you redirect. Soon I'll show you. So logical view name, and here the attribute name. But it is a model attribute name. And then there is a string comma object, of course, pattern. Same object as model attribute value. Okay. So right now, just let it pass and I'll write something, and over time you'll understand in next 5 minutes time. Return new model and view. And here I'm choosing the one which I've explained you. So here, oh, sorry, my mistake. Test slash, you can have anything. You'll know a lot of things with this, guys. Slash test slash test. Just give me a second. So slash test is sufficient. TS is for timestamp. Okay, I'll write the whole thing. And local date time. Okay. Since I have not yet explained anything, I'm sending you the method. So just type it out and we will discuss it in a minute and you will understand it in another 5 minutes or something. You let me know. Or what I'll do is I'll parallelly start explaining. You just have to right now because you know I don't I have not yet explained. You can always copy it. So now start answering the question. Once you add this method, can you tell me what will be the new entry added in your handler mapping bean? When I say entry, you know, key and a value pair. Which key and which value? Yes, please. Let's see whether you're answering. Wrong answer, Girish. Wrong answer, Gaurav. I said it is a combination. Yes. So slash test, pick it up from the class level and append the method level. So what will be, I'll give you in writing. So the entry in HM. HM is handler mapping. Okay. So what will be the key here? Please combine both the things. I've been saying it is a combination pattern. Slash test one. And anyone wants to tell me value? Value is easy. Which classes, which method, responding to which HTTP method. So all that information is back. Oh, sorry. Here in the key, the moment you say get mapping, can it respond to any request or only the get request? Only the get request. So this information is also packed in the key. Plus method is equal to get. Which requesting method? Get. So this information is packed in the key and value you had given correctly. So com app controller. Which controller we are writing? Test controller. And which method, guys? The test model and view. Okay. So this is the method. So this is what is the new thing. So later I'll ask you to read it from the Java docs, Spring API docs. So this information is packed. Okay, this is the key, this is a value. If you want, I can give you this if you want to add it as a comment. Okay, now you have to start answering in parts. So start the story. Here, what is the, you can change this. So the incoming pattern is going to be slash test one. Reaches the dispatcher servlet. What will dispatcher servlet send to the handler mapping bean? What will be the input here? Slash test one. And this time, will it return null or not null? Simple question, simple answer. Not null. Everyone surviving so far? Everyone clear so far? So now the control comes back here. And which is the method? So what is the information it has got? Which controllers, which method to call? So which controllers, which method it is going to call? Test controllers, whatever, test model and view. So the control reaches here to our test controllers, this method. Is everyone clear how the control reached here? Okay, now. So now this is just a SOP to trace. Now comes the real deal. Real deal means a change. So the return type is not just a logical view name. It is a combo of, it is a holder of model, as in model attribute, and a logical view name. Okay, so hear me. So now, who is returning what to whom? In the picture, guys, who is returning what to whom? So answer who first? Handler. Your handler is returning. Tell me, is it returning only the logical view name, or is it returning the model and view object? Answer that. It is returning the model and view object. And model and view object is what? A holder of logical view name plus model attribute. So you can add more if you want. That is, it is all up to you. So I can just change this here. So in the next interaction, here earlier, yesterday we were just testing it. So now we are going a little beyond. So let me just add here. So either, actually I don't have the enough space. Anyway, so either you can return a string, or you can also return a model and view object to the to what? To your dispatcher servlet. Okay. So who is returning what to whom? Your handler is returning a model and view object to the front controller. Control again reaches this fellow, the hub, centralized dispatcher. Understood so far? Okay. Now think smart and tell me, what is it you think your, what is it called? Front dispatcher servlet sent to the view resolver. Your choices are logical view name, model attributes, both or neither. LVN, model attribute, both or neither. How can you say both? Guys, this fellow is as dumb as it gets. Its just job is translation from logical view name to the actual view name. What is it is going to do with the model attribute? So correct yourself. What is the only thing which will be sent from, always, from the dispatcher servlet to view resolver? Logical view name. So now tell me, what is it will actually send? Which is the logical view name I have given? Tell me. /test/test1. Copy paste it and put it in your diagram if you want. So let me add this here. This is going to be, I told you, you have to draw it with me, otherwise it is all like unreadable. So /test/test1. Anyone wants to tell me what will be the actual view name your view resolver bean will send? I will write it here. I don't want to mess up the diagram. So here, actual view name resolved by the, what is it called? View resolver bean will be, I'll say, resolved by the view resolver bean. Yes, I hope you are answering correctly. It's just a combination. You forgot .gsp. Yes. So here it is going to be, what is the prefix? I'm going to say this 100 times in a day. So by 100 time, everyone will be bored. WebINF views, sorry. And here, I have not added any slash here. So I'm taking care of a slash here. Where is my slash here? Okay. So here, the logical view name pasted in between, followed by .gsp. Are we good? So this is what is, I'll copy paste this. So who is returning the actual view name to whom? You know the answer. Your view resolver bean is actually, what is it called? Sending it back to dispatcher servlet. Are we clear? View layer, view resolver to DS. Absolutely. VR, HM, DS, start getting into that. Otherwise, it's such a pain. Now comes the last interaction. So what is the last interaction? Your dispatcher servlet has to actually forward the client to the view layer. Understood this? So that is why I told you, keep some space here. Okay. So I'll just have to shift it a little bit so that I'll get a space here. Okay. So now here comes the twist. Twist means additional thing. Here, tell me, till now, have we used any model attributes anywhere? So far, Have we used that model attribute part, the model part, the data part? Answer is no. So now your this thing, what is it called? Dispatcher servlet is not a dumb, it is the most intelligent entity around. So here you write over this thing, or I'll write it for you. Dispatcher servlet checks. What it checks, it checks, are there any model attributes? Are there any model attributes present? So tell me, what is the answer? Yes or no? Are there the model attributes present in this? Are there any model attributes sent? Yes. So draw a branch. I'll still shift it down. Okay. So in the first request which we handled yesterday, the answer was no. So just fork it, guys. So yesterday it was no here. There were no model attributes. I did not even tell you what is that. Just a second. Okay, still it is underlined. Anyway, forget it. So this was a no branch, and here I'll write the yes branch. Finally. Now, what was yesterday's thing? We were in a no branch. So here, container did not get any model attributes. So it was directly calling the forward. Okay. So this is your yesterday's story. Now guess smartly. If there are any model attributes, these model attributes hold the result, hold something which has to be shared with the view layer. I'll repeat the statement again. Model attributes represent the result of some business action. Currently, you'll say, where is the business action? Soon it will come with authentication, registration, and all that. So now your dispatcher servlet. Okay, before that, I'll make a statement. Your handler, which is a controller, can it directly talk to the view layer? It's a Boolean question, yes or no. Can your request handling controller directly talk to the view layer? Absolutely not. The whole interaction is with the dispatcher servlet. That is why our controller sent the results in form of that model attribute to your dispatcher servlet. So now, how can dispatcher servlet not do anything about it? So what happens is, this is what happens. So by default, model attributes are stored in the current request scope. So what will container do? Container means dispatcher servlet simply adds model attributes. You'll say where there are attributes. There's only currently one attribute. Soon there will be more. So it will add the model attribute under, which is the only scope where the model attributes can be stored, under the request scope. So who is saving? It is only valid for current request. And why? Because which is the navigation technique it is using? Server pull. And you remember our famous statement, which is the minimum scope of attributes, which is required in the server pull? Page, request, session, or application. Answer is request. Are you getting it? So all these things which you have learned, today is what, 16th day in Java. Advanced Java. All these 2 weeks, I have prepared you for this, I hope. So this thing, dispatcher servlet simply adds that model attribute, later more under the request scope, and then it continues to this. So then it is going to continue to this part. Okay, let me just make my diagram slightly better by shifting this a little more. So here, either way, it has to call the forward. So either it will come from here or it will come from here. Okay, just manage it properly. Or wait for me to share the diagram, whatever. It comes here directly, or after adding the attributes, it will come here. Are you understanding it? So what is let us recap the last interaction. What was your handler sending back to the dispatcher servlet? Model attributes and the logical view name. So tell me, which part of it will be given to the view resolver? Logical view name, model attributes, both or neither? Only logical view name. Don't give unnecessary information to the guy who doesn't understand it, right? So what will it return? Actual view name. Story over, as far as this fellow is concerned. Now, dispatcher servlet checks, will it blindly do the forward or will it do any checking? Of course, it will do the checking. What is that check it does? Is this response containing any model attributes? If the answer was no till yesterday, it was directly calling the forward. But now there are model attributes. So which is the only scope? The model attribute has request scope. So if you would like to think in Java, which is always I prefer, which is the Java code your Spring container or dispatcher servlet will call? Request dot set attribute, and which attribute name? Whatever that server timestamp and the current value, current timestamp. And then it is going to forward the client to the view layer. So now anyone wants to tell me where should be my JSP and what should I write there to display that changing response? Okay, one question at a time. Has everyone understood? Like how we separated all the testing related action under a separate class. Here, I want to separate the view layer also. Like how you remember, I'll give you a React analogy. In React, what we do, under the source folder, we add the components. And then you can have the sub-branching, login related components, register related components, or list related or whatever. Okay. And then you have another layer, service layer, which we'll call the backend service. That is the story in React. Here, I want the similar separation in the backend. So now answer the simple question. Tell me, what should be the name of my JSP? All easy answers. What should be the name of the JSP page? Test1.jsp, very right. Where should it be created? Under WebINF views or a separate subfolder? Answer is separate subfolder. So let's write it together. Go to Package Explorer. Right click on views. You can right click anywhere, but easiest, closest is views. So right click on views, new, and the JSP. Right click on views, new, and choose JSP. Do we want in views or do we want a separate subfolder for separation? Separation. And what should be the name of the file? Test1. So I hope you have realized, guys, it is all about understanding and matching in J2E, not in J2E, anywhere. So test1, and you can say finish. And now here, I want to show that changing timestamp. So I'll start it for you. So I'll say server timestamp. This is a client side. This is going to appear on this thing client side. Anyone wants to tell me how to display it? That will require, Anshumalai, that will require the scriptlet. I'm so against scriptlet. Yes, you are absolutely right, Girish. Don't just tell me EL. Give me the EL syntax. Actual answer. I'm looking for actual answer. You know all of this. We have done this in JSP so many times. Yes, anyone? Okay, I'll start with the EL syntax. Yeah, so somebody said something. Request scope. Very right. Very right. New date is wrong, Girish. Come on, you are not getting it. I have already got the basic part itself you lost. Here, I have already got the timestamp. I just want to access it as a request scope attribute. So guys, let's not invite spelling mistakes. Here, start, $. What is the name of the map under which request scope attributes are added? Okay, so scratch the question. If I just write this, will I get the result? 100% yes. But how many searches will have to be invested? 2 searches. First, it will search in the page scope and then in the request scope. So why suffer? Why slow down the response? So give the name of the map under which, all the request scope attributes are kept. Ringing any bells? Remembering all this? So this is it. And now it's a testing time. So here, quickly have a look. The request which is going to come from the client is going to be /test/test1, because you should be able to figure out your own debugging. I don't want to invest time because you will start understanding. Since it does not have any .gsp whatever extension, dispatcher servlet intercepts, sends it to the mapping bean handler mapping with the URL pattern /test/test1. It returns the test controller and the whatever that test model and view method. If all goes well, if you have not made any spelling mistakes. So now dispatcher servlet will call our method, which is going to return a model and view object consisting of logical view name and a single model attribute. Dispatcher servlet will send the logical view name to view resolver, and we will get back, we as in dispatcher servlet will get back the actual view name. Controller, dispatcher servlet front controller always checks, are there any model attributes? So which branch we are in currently? No branch or yes branch? It is in the yes branch. So now that model attribute, who will push the model attribute under the request scope? Programmer or dispatcher servlet? DS, as a part of a Spring framework, dispatcher servlet, and then it will forward the client to our JSP page. And the last thing what I asked you was, any request scoped attribute, how do I access it without writing a scriptlet? EL syntax. EL syntax is full of name of the maps. So this map is created not by your Spring, but by our web container, and we are checking it out. Got some idea? 10%, 20%? If it is more, always best. But if it is lower, then I have to worry. So in short, testing time. Right click, run as. If you have forgotten any links, of course it is going to crib. So do systematic testing, guys. In short, check the console. You are not allowed to go to the client side till you see all the checklist. So forget this. We are not interested. We are not going to client space. Okay. Is everyone seeing initializing Spring Servlet and your Hello controller, homepage controller, and the test controller all up and running? Getting the feel of how, see, the moment you understand what is happening, debugging becomes so easy. Troubleshooting becomes so easy. So all good. So far, so good. And the first request has come from the client, which has, it has traveled through all these layers and sent the index page. So now is the testing time. So we have already tested this test model and view. See, nothing earth shattering. I mean, nothing, what do you say of this? But again, this tells you the model and view concept. So please check it out. And here you will see the method which is getting called is that method. And now if I send multiple requests, static contains or dynamic contains? But the important question is, are these dynamic contents generated by the view layer or generated by your request handling controller? Handler or the view layer? H for handler, V for the view layer. Who is generating these dynamic contents? Handler is generating it. And the display part, the core job of JSP is just a presentation logic. So that is simply getting displayed here. Understood everything? Okay, 100% is not I'm aiming at. 10%, 20% is good enough for a beginner. Got a feel or not? Working or not working? Okay, so the summary of what we did, understanding summary, I've written in a sequence. So the important concept is model attribute. So read it slowly. I am writing who, what, when, how, everything. So now you have to understand. I mean, you have understood it partially, more understanding. What is a model attribute? It is a server-side attribute. Attribute is always a server-side entry key and a value pair. Understood this much? But what is the purpose of this model attribute? That is a key question. Here in Spring MVC, we use the model attributes to store the results of the business logic. After the break, we are going to start solving the case study, CMS, Content Management System. So whether the authentication, we always start with login. So the result of that authentication will be stored in the model attribute. Now, W questions. Who is going to create this model attribute? You may not be understanding it. Request handling controller. Short form is commonly known as handler. This handler is programmer supplied P or Spring supplied S. P or S. It's a Spring supplied, right? So I'm so sorry. You gave me a wrong answer and I also agreed. Come on. Has Spring returned a test controller? Programmer supplied. The dispatcher servlet front controller Spring supplied. Request handling controllers us supplied, programmer supplied. Now, who is going to send the model attributes to whom? The request handling controller to dispatcher servlet. How? Using which object? Model and view. After dispatcher servlet gets the actual view name from view resolver, what is your dispatcher servlet going to check? Are there any model attributes? If yes, I've written the flowchart. This is just a text description of that flowchart. Dispatcher servlet will save the model attributes at the request scope and forward the client to the view layer. If there is nothing to save, this step is skipped and the dispatcher servlet will directly forward the client to the view layer. And since the model attributes are in the request scope, how will you access it from the request scope? Using the EL syntax map, EL map, web container created map, this one. So read it slowly and tell me better understanding, understood it in a better manner. Frank answers are expected. No filters. Got the idea? Okay, so I'll just take one more thing and we will take a break. So what is the last thing you learned is the model and view object. And guys, such a clear cut, such a beautiful description is given as in the Java docs. Definitely read. It's much more capable than that. Whatever is required for you, I'm taking. It is a holder for model, view, or both or neither. Answer is both. See the name, model and view. Once upon a time, I'm telling a story. I don't remember, maybe some 2-3 years ago, a student, a beginner like you, had asked me a very interesting question. He had asked me, on one side, you are selling us MVC, okay? And you are telling us always that it is for separation. So aren't we defeating this separation in a model and view when you are mixing up model and view? So that time I showed him this line. Both are completely distinct. We are not mixing it up. We are just using a convenience mechanism, a holder, which will bundle model attributes and logical view name together and send it to the controller, send it to the front controller dispatcher servlet. So I don't know how much you understood, but this was the interaction done sometime. And it was a really nice question. So I always like to share things. Anyway, so represents a model and view returned by the handler to the dispatcher servlet, and you can read all of it later. Whatever I've taken, I keep telling you is from the Java docs, written in a simple English. So now let us add one more thing and stop for the first break. So majority, I hope it worked. When I send more and more requests, request handling method gets called. Okay, so stop the server. We are doing something next. I'm going to show you now another important concept of model. There's a map by the name model, so that I'm showing you. So stop the server, please. And let's start with the index page. So open the index page. And let's add a link. This is how the whole day is going to be spent, partially here and partially in the labs. So copy that, and what you are going to do is again, model and view, we don't use so much. I mean, you can use it, not an issue, but generally I give a simpler solution, and that is your model map. And here, change link to test 2. I'll wait for you. Tell me when you're done. Just make a copy and change it. Spend least amount of time on such things. So now the whole flow begins. I'm telling you, I'll be repeating that flow literally 100 times. So you can also imagine it in the middle of night. So start. Everything is related to this. So now when the client clicks on the link, test model map, what will be the URL pattern client will send to the server? I said URL pattern /test/test2. Can it be intercepted by dispatcher servlet? Boolean question. Yes. Why? It is the URL pattern for this is / and it fits it. No extension. Dispatcher servlet is equal to front controller will consult the handler mapping bean. What will be the key it will send? Yes, you are all right. /test/test2. And what will your handler mapping bean return? Null or not null? Answer is null. So, because we have not added any action where any request handling request handling method is mapped to it. So obviously, the next question is, I mean, what should I do next? I'll give you option. Should I write another controller, fresh controller, or should I add just a new request handling method in the controller? Exactly. Guys, you are learning fast, which is so cool. So of course you have to, why? I mean, it's not like you write 100 controllers. Reusability. So which controller should I write? The moment you have the incoming pattern as test, is any controller mapped to this? Fresh controller answer is Siddharth wrong, because I've already got a test controller mapped to /test. Okay, so please open this thing. What is it called? Test controller. You understood this one, Siddharth, I guess. I already have got a test controller mapped to /test, so don't invest more time. So here, first is add a comment. Add request handling method to understand model map. Okay, so first we are going to write and then I'll explain and then we'll take a break. So here, which is the compulsory annotation you have to use at the method level? Either you can say request mapping, or if you are handling only a particular request such as get or put or post or delete, this is also a get mapping because client is clicking on the link. After the break, when we have a form submission via post, which will be the annotation you will use here? Get mapping or post mapping? Post mapping, which is 100% equivalent to which method in your servlet? Do get or do post? Of course, do post. So it is all the same. Only thing is we are doing it in the advanced manner. Okay, let's not waste your /test2. So now it will have a mapping. It will have an entry /test. It will pick up from the class level pattern and appended by /test to method level. And the next method. So pause here. You answer. What is it easier for a beginner like you to understand? A complex object model and view or a simple string? I'm asking you, which will be easier for anyone to understand? String or model and view? Give me an honest answer. Of course, simple string. So the advantage of model map is we are going to be back to string return type. Okay, but you have to see hear the whole story yet. And I can say test model map. And here, just give a SOP in test model map. And here, let's say return / test 1 again. Okay. We're going to write some code in between. Don't worry about that. I'm just completing the simple part, template kind of a part. So I just want somebody to answer what will be the actual view name resolved by the view resolver. Yes, please. What will be the actual view name resolved by the view resolver? Answer is same as above. I'm going to reuse your JSP also. Everyone with me so far? Yes, you're right. So I did not say return /test/test2 because the job it's so simple. I don't want to write another, what is it called? Another test page. I just want to write it in the same. Okay, you'll see this all. Now, what is the requirement? The requirement is I want to show you adding multiple model attributes. Can I not do it with model and view? Of course, there are constructors for that, but I'm showing you the simpler version. So little bit of reading you have to do. So open your Java docs, Spring API docs, and above model and view, what is it you are looking at is the model. Okay. So come to here, reach here. It is part of OS UI. It is user interface part we are talking about. And model is nothing but the interface. And what is it? Read this. Holder for model attributes. So model represents a map. What they mean by Java 5 specific? Generic map. What will be the argument? String comma string or string comma object for this model map? S comma S or S comma O. The moment I say attribute, I hope nobody is like confused. So here, this is nothing but your good old java.util.map string comma object holding the model attributes. Okay. So this is the model interface. Now anyone wants to tell me which was the method we used in servlets or JSPs to add a attribute? Which was the method used? Suppose I want to add a session scope attribute or request scope attribute. Everyone is right. So here method naming change to add attribute. How do you add an attribute in the model map? The method name is add attribute. Okay, so there are various overloaded methods. Look at the one which you'll understand immediately. So what is the first argument? Attribute name string. And what is the second argument? Attribute value object. But can you pass a null value as an attribute object? Answer is yes. Spring Container is allowing you that, but as a sensible programmer, will never add a null. So at nullable is just a annotation, which tells that this value can be null. Will we use any null here practically? Absolutely not. Now, anyone wants to answer, what was the return type of set attribute method? What was the return type of the set attribute method? Void or not void? It was void. And the moment non-void, you are wrong. It was public void set attribute. Check it up from the J2E docs. So if it is void, is method chaining possible? Meaning, can I add multiple attributes using the same line? Of course not. So see the improvement of the API. What is the return type of the add attribute? Void or non-void? Guys, it is returning you the model. So listen to the question. Very similar I have shown you in the set parameter method in Hibernate query. You have to draw the analogies. So if I want to add, let's say 3 attributes in the model map, can I do the method chaining or method chaining is not possible? Of course, method chaining is possible. I can say map.addAttribute.addAttribute.addAttribute. Okay, so adds the supplied attribute under the supplied name. And the moment I say model attribute, what will be the scope of it? Page, request, session, or application? Quickly, it is a request scope. And who is going to add these model attributes under the request scope? Programmer or dispatcher servlet? A dispatcher servlet. All cool. Now let's just add this method. So here, if I want to use this method, see, so add, let's say 2 attributes. At least let's start with 2 attributes. Here earlier I had shown you 1 attribute. I'm sorry, I'm stretching it, but I just want to complete this point and then give you a break. I'll give a 1 hour, don't worry. So add 2 attributes under model map. Okay, this is what I want. So which is the method? So the OSUI is the whatever package name. The name of the interface is model. It is an interface. And which is the method I showed you just now? Is it returning void or is it returning a model? It is returning a model. Method name is add attribute string comma object. Check. I'll send you all this anyway. Model attribute value. Okay, so this is it. Now let me ask you the key question. Do you want to use conventional programming, traditional programming, or IOC? We are here for what? Tight coupling or loose coupling? Loose coupling achieved via IOC. So listen to the next question. It's a leading question. It's an obvious question. So as a programmer, do you want to create this empty map, model map, or do you want the Spring container to inject the empty model map into your method? Of course, Spring container being your slave, you want Spring container to inject the empty map, and depending on your business logic results, which are currently no results, dummy results, we will populate it. I'll repeat the last statement again. Who is going to create the empty map and inject it, make it available to the method? Programmer or Spring container? Spring container. But who is going to populate the map with the business logic results? P or SC? Programmer. Is the role wise you are clear? Because if you get confused, then you don't understand. And see the beauty. Which was the annotation we were using for dependency injection? Anyone remembers? Which is the annotation we used whole of yesterday or whatever, second half of yesterday for this thing for automatic wiring is equal to dependency injection @autowired. But guys, the good news is this MVC model is so powerful that you don't even require that. So how do you work then? You just tell the container which dependencies you want by adding the argument here. So see the beauty. You simply add an argument in the method model. The match itself is there. And since it is a map, or I can say model attribute map, whatever, just a map. So here, this is it, which takes you to ask for a dependency. I'll repeat the last statement again. Just by adding a method, adding an argument in your request handling method, annotated with one of these mappings, you are ordering the Spring container, get me the empty model map. So anyone wants to tell me, when I SOP here, when you see the value output here, what is it you expect to see? Null, option 1, empty map, option 2, populated map, option 3. If you are saying null, you have not understood our letter of dependency injection. Guys, you are not trusting your Spring container, your slave. Of course, it is going to create an empty map. Write it when you give me such a horrible answer. Your Spring container creates an empty, model map to store the model attributes and injects it. I thought I said it clearly enough. Injects it. Injects means what? Makes it available, passes it to the method, in the method. So try it again. What is it you expect to see? Null, empty map, or populated map? Quickly. Empty map. And how does an empty map look like? You remember the map? Key and a value pair of curly braces. Now let's wrap it up fast. Already I've stretched it. Now it is easy. I've got an empty map, which is the method we used to use in core Java to populate the map, map.put. In servlets, set attribute. In Spring MVC, add attribute. So here, let's take the same thing because it is the same page. So pick up that, okay, and the value also. I'm just showing you guys various approaches to make the results reach. Now, can I do the method chaining? 100% yes. Add attribute method is returning me the model map, right? So let us add one more attribute, something, attribute name. I'll say something. I generally take some collection based thing, number list. Okay. You can add anything, some string or anything, but I just want to show you. And this is a revision of collection framework. I hope you remember all of this. Wait a second. So if you want, I can send you this line. If you don't want to type, knowing the time, which is so late. Okay. Because you know, once you start a particular point, I don't want to break it halfway. Anyway, so let me ask you, how many attributes are we adding in the model map? Answer is 2. So if I print it again, test model map, say again, what is it you expect to see? Null, empty, or populated map? 3 options. A populated map. Like you remember, we used to say hash map, hm.put, k1v1, k2v2, same thing here. So you will definitely see the populated map. Which keys and which values? Don't expect, it's a hash map, unsorted, unordered map. So number list, and where is that value? Oh, I lost it. Sorry. Server timestamp and the timestamp and the number list and you remember this method? I hope you remember this method. If not, take a cursor, returns a fixed size list containing integers. Absolutely. So we have added and we are again returning it to the same page. So looking at time, I don't revise. Anyway, you'll need a revision after this. So now tell me, which is the JSP where I'll get to see this result? Which is the JSP it is? Am I writing test2.jsp or is it a test1.jsp? So test1.jsp, open test1.jsp. It's all reusability. And which attribute I have already displayed? Server timestamp. Let's take the other one. And here the number list. And don't make the spelling mistakes at the last point. And what is that thing I have given? I don't know what you have given. I have given this. So which is the map to search? You know, EL syntax, all EL syntax. Is the request scope. And I hope I'm not messed up in spellings. So model attributes are pushed under the request scope and using EL syntax with our scriptlet, you are just displaying it. Now in 1 minute, we'll do the testing. You have 1 hour to catch up. I'll be sending you the project before we disperse, before we take a break. Red cross, ignore, it will go away. Unless there's a genuine spelling mistake or something I've made. We'll come to know in a minute. Always keep your checking eyes on the console. Unless until there is an errorless console, don't even go to the client space. You know the importance of it. So I'm checking. Hello controller. Okay, Spring has started. Hello home and test controller. All good. And now, tell me, are you seeing both of the server-side attributes, as in request scope attributes? And the first one is changing because it's a timestamp. This is your fixed size list. We are not adding anything. So just take a look at it, guys. What is the server-side story? In test model map, so which dependency was injected by the container? Empty model map, populated model map, or null? Dependency container will never give you null. Container is more than good for that. Okay. And when you say print it again, who is populating the map? Us, programmer. And this is the key model attribute name. You can see all of it here. And this is the timestamp. And this is the second attribute, which we are simply displaying it. We are not generating any responses from here. We're just displaying, which is what is the job of a view layer. Anyone succeeded? Working from anyone? Tell me. Okay, great. For those it is not working, I'm sending you the code, the zip of the project created so far. You catch along and you try it out in the next 1 hour if you want. And then I'll spend something like 5-10 minutes in removing some of the errors, because I can't do the too many things here because it's a theory session, but I'll definitely take 2-3 share screens at least request and try to help you to get you on board. But yeah, I'll give you the image also. Okay. So here, let me save the image. And I don't know if you guys, any of you joined me late sequence also, but Akshata, as always, I can't promise how much of the sequence I'll complete, but you can definitely read till this simpler way and all that. Everything. I'm sending you everything. Like I said, Rajiv, try it out in the next hour. Your spelling mistakes must be there. I've sent you the code. Please catch up. What did you want? Sequence. This thing. Sequence. And actually, wait. Instead of sharing it in pieces, give me a minute. I will send you the zip of whole of today's help, which I don't know how much we'll complete. But instead of, sharing it in pieces, this is better. Just keep it in a temp folder, because from Google Drive at the end of the day, I'll make a proper compilation and send it. This has a Spring Boot help also. So let me share it once for all. So guys, please download day 16 help, which contains a modified version. Modified means full-fledged version of content management system. So part of it, definitely I'll get it done with you. And part of it, which I cannot complete, of course, it will be partially in theory, partially in lab session, and remaining parts by your homework, as your homework. So I think I've shared everything with you. Is anything missing? Okay, so that will be all. See you in an hour's time. So let us resume at 11:25. Just a second, Rajiv, I'm in the middle of this. You try to resolve the errors on your own. And if you cannot, I will spend some 10 minutes, only 10 minutes, please, and to fix the errors. Yes, Rajiv, you're saying.
मैम टेस्ट 1 में जो है
अरे मैं नहीं ले रही हूँ अभी questions. I told you, try out things. I've sent you the full code. Do little bit of troubleshooting on your own. If you cannot in the 1 hour, I'll help you. Not now.
ट्रैवल है कि नहीं, यही पूछ रहा था.
नहीं देख लो आप देख लो. Okay, try it out. Something you should try on your own. ठीक है? So see you in 1 hour, 11:25.